These are shark-infested waters. Danger lurks all around. There are sharks circling you right now. Is this the Pacific? The South China Sea? No. This is the business insurance industry. Don't take chances with your business insurance. Call High House Insurance, your local business insurance experts. We don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free no-obligation quote, call Selsey 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Selsey.
Station that cares.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the station that cares, Manhood Internet Radio. And this is podcast number 2 of this week. We had technical problems last week, and so we couldn't produce a podcast. But this week we've got 2, so be on the lookout for both of them. My guests in the studio this week are Sue Moon from Bracklesham Barn, Kelly Andrew from KandG's Farm Shop, a young man called Alex Mould, who's a local retained firefighter and is trying to raise money for cystic fibrosis. We've got Danny, Kelly and Liz Watson from Selsey First Responders. And we finish up with Pastor Andy Stevens from the Windrush Church. And so, without further ado, let's go and talk to Sue Moon. Morning, Sue.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Right, Sue, tell us a little bit about Bracklesham Barn. I mean, obviously, people that live in the area probably know a bit more about it than I certainly do, but you have so much stuff going on there.
We do. Okay, so Bracklesham Barn is a community centre in the heart of Bracklesham, and it was built 5 years ago using the Section 106 money from the District Council. So we have a beautiful building. It costs a lot of money. Beautiful building which is there for the use of the community. And yes, you're right, we have an extremely varied amount of things going on there. And check out our website and you can see what's going on.
And I know you have everything from yoga to a movie night. I know you do movie nights, but there's all manner of stuff. There's stuff going on for youngsters, for kiddies, for tots, that sort of stuff, mother and baby, or not mother and baby, but mother and young child.
That's right. A lot of our business during the week is generally people who are hiring the rooms for their own business purposes. So we don't get so involved with those groups. They just have the room, they turn up and they get on with what they want to do. And that's the majority of our weekday business. We do have a few community clubs. One of the new community clubs that's been set up is a table tennis club, which is literally drop in and play. For just £2, adults only, and that is during February on a Tuesday morning. But yeah, we have lots of toddler groups there, yoga sessions, we have Pilates, badminton club, so it's all going on.
So far you've mentioned everything that frightens the life out of me, because it involves some form of exercise. So, more sedately, the movie nights now, are they once a month? Or?
They are on the first Thursday of every month. Apart from sort of August. We tend not to do one in August because everyone goes away. But the doors open at 7 o'clock. The film we aim to start at 7:30, and that half hour we give ourselves for people to get seated, to have a little chat with each other, and to also purchase from the bar, because we run a bar and have popcorn and things like that.
What a great
and
idea.
it's a very big community event, and it's got a lot of regular people coming.
Then you'll get people slurping their drinks instead of rattling their popcorn. I'm not a great cinema goer, I have to tell you, and my wife would be the first to tell you, but I did go a couple of weeks ago, and we had the cinema in Chichester, had the old cinema to ourselves, except for one other couple who were in their 70s, and they sat behind us. And I have never known anybody make sweets and make so much noise. It would be impossible to make that much noise. They'd have made a noise with a marshmallow.
Believe me, the people that we have coming to our cinema are very well behaved.
Good.
Very well behaved.
Maybe I'll come across there and watch the films in a peace and quiet. Now, you mentioned that you've got several rooms,
We've got two rooms that we hire out. We have the main hall, which is a sprung wood floor and sort of big wooded ceiling and everything that looks out onto the playing field. And then we also have our community room, which is built as a conference room. So it's very classroomy kind of feel.
Yeah.
But it's got a carpet on it. And that room can also be divided into two. And there's an actual panelled wall that can come out. And
okay. So how many people can you get into the conference room?
With tables, you can get a good sort of 40 people.
And in the main hall? I was thinking about functions or...
Yeah. So if you're just having like a cinema-style seating, like with the... hopefully in December we're going to be having a pantomime. So with cinema sort of seating, that kind of style seating, you can get 150 people sat quite comfortably, not on top of each other, in the main hall. If you're talking about restaurant dining, you're talking about 100 people.
Cabaret seating,
yeah.
So, well, that's pretty fair.
We've had some brilliant events down there. Like we had an Elvis night, and there was 120 people there, and some were seated and some were up and dancing. And
sounds like a great night. I didn't see that advertised, I must admit.
There'll be another one coming up shortly.
That to yourself.
No, there's another one coming up shortly.
You knew 120 people that wanted tickets, yes. Well, I look forward to. I should keep my eye out for that because I'm a great Elvis fan. So. I would certainly get some tickets for that. Now, if I wanted to hire the room for a function, the main hall, what sort of cost are we looking at?
Okay, so the way that the actual costing, if I was to talk about it, is very, very complicated. Because what we do is we cater and we hire for what you use. So there's a basic room hire. So for the main hall, the basic room hire is £15 an hour before 5 o'clock. And then it goes up to £18 an hour. But then if you want other things, like you want to hire the fairy lights, or you want to hire the projector, or you want it for, you want to have alcohol at your event, then there's kind of bolt-ons. So every event is individual. It's all catered for and worked out individually.
Okay. Yeah, so you can have as much or as little as you want.
Absolutely.
Or as much as little. I mean, I know with the alcohol, you've got to have a license.
Yes,
there's a
even to have alcohol on the premises, not selling it, or even giving it away, you still have to have that.
Not something I'm really into, giving away alcohol. There we go. Well, thanks very much for coming in, Sue, and having a chat to us.
Thank you for having me.
Enlighten us a little bit about Bracklesham Barn. I mean, I know there's so much going on there, and I would personally suggest that the best way to find out what's going on at Bracklesham Barn is to look at their website, and you can do that by going on to www.brackleshambarn.co.uk, and you'll find everything you want on there. Thanks once again, Sue.
Thank you very much.
And just to give you a brief insight into the sort of things that go on down there, well, on a Monday there's short mat bowls, on Tuesday there's table tennis and badminton, on Wednesdays there's belly dancing with Step Inside Limited, there's Zumba with Louise and a Sweat Zone exercise class, on Thursdays there's Busy Bugs Toddler Gym, and on Fridays there's short mat bowls and yoga. Not both at the same time, I hasten to add. So that'll give you a little glance into the kind of things that go on at Bracklesham Barn. And my next guest in the studio today is young Kelly Andrew. And with her partner Gareth, they run KandG's farm shop. Now, this is not just a normal farm shop, because they also keep animals down there. They've got a little bit of livestock, some goats, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
Any other animals that you've got?
Yeah, we've got sheep, chickens and ducks.
And this is not the situation where people come down and say, I'll have that one, and then you get a butcher to...
No, not at all. Not at all. Definitely not.
I'm only joking.
These are my pets.
When I was talking earlier on to Tracy, I said, is it a sort of like a big posh restaurant where you go and pick the animal you want? But I was assured it's not. So the kids can come down there, people can bring their kids down there and pet them.
Yeah.
And are you planning to get other animals?
I am. It's something that my partner is not interested at the moment. So my customers that know me will know that I need to keep it hush-hush.
Oh, right.
But I do actually want a couple of reindeers, a couple of alpacas, and I do want a miniature little pig.
Oh, see, that's what my wife would like.
Yeah.
She's pig mad.
So we can't tell Gareth what
No.
I'll just go out and get them and
so,
put them in the field.
I see. So Gareth won't listen to this.
No.
He won't know anything about this.
No.
And his friends won't tell him.
No. They all know to keep it hush.
Oh, right. That's okay. The secret's safe with them, I hope, because I don't want to take the blame for it. I don't want you coming around banging on my door. So you let out the secret. So how long have you been running KandG's farm shop?
KandG has only been set up, I'd say, the last 9 months. It's always been a farm shop. Gareth's always been there for the past 10, 12 years. But we're just now expanding it. We've now put the pet shop inside the farm shop. And just expanding it now.
So did you have other pets down there? You say pet shop, I mean, I'm assuming that you sell pet supplies.
Yeah. Sell pet animal food and pet supplies. We deal with dogs, cats, hamsters, guinea pigs, ferrets, hedgehogs. I've got all the feed for them and all the supplies for it.
Wonderful. So there's no hungry hedgehogs.
No, definitely not.
In East Wittering or
no, you wouldn't believe the amount of customers that come and buy hedgehog food.
Well, I think people are getting used to the idea that hedgehogs are on the way out, aren't they?
That's right, yeah.
But according to local reports, anyway, hedgehogs are rarer than they used to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something to do with their suicidal tendencies, I don't know. But it's good to hear that people are coming down there and buying hedgehog food.
We do a large selection of wild bird food as well. So it's good that the wildlife is getting fed. So
certainly is. It's getting fed better than most of the locals.
They do, you wouldn't believe it, yeah.
Now, whereabouts are you located exactly? Because I don't know the area that well.
Okay, so if you're coming from Birdham into Bracklesham, and you've got those 2 sharp bends, then you come into Bracklesham Lane, we're just literally on the left-hand side. So before Holden's Caravan Park, and just after that sharp bend.
So even I could find it. So.
Yeah.
And if people want to phone you up and say, have you got this in stock? Or because what I'm thinking about is it's a little bit rural around here, and people might have to drive 2 or 3 miles to get to you to find out if you've got hedgehog food in stock. Yeah. So have you got a phone number where they can phone you up?
We've got a contact telephone number, email address, also on Facebook. But I mean, if it's something that I haven't got in stock, it is something that I can quickly get in stock. It's not a problem. We also do free delivery with a minimum of £15. So anything over £15 we can then deliver to yourselves. We usually do within the 10-mile radius.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
10 miles is quite a long way to go out delivering stuff.
It is, yeah.
Now, your phone number is?
01243 513 403.
Okie dokie. And your email address, if people want to email you?
Yeah, it's KandG, so it's KandG, pet supplies, @yahoo.co.uk.
Okie dokie. And you've got a Facebook page as well, so they can look on there. And
yeah, that's under KandG's farm shop.
Well, that's wonderful. So there's all the information for contact. You no need to travel in and find out if they've got it in stock. You can phone up and say, I need a sack of hedgehog food.
Yeah.
And they can tell you if they've got it, and if they haven't, they'll get it for you, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any plans for the future? I mean, other than...
Yeah. I mean, to be truthful, I've got loads of plans.
Exotic animals that you seem to be bringing in there.
I know. Tell me about it. Never ending. I have got loads of plans. My plan at the moment is we've got the extension being built next to the farm shop. So we're going to make a entrance through the farm shop into the extension, which will be the pet shop. And then we're going to expand on the farm shop side.
Okay, now what sort of stuff does the farm shop do as a farm shop?
Okay, the farm shop itself has fruit and vegetables, freshly fruit and vegetables on a daily basis. We sell compost, coal, kindling, logs.
But all manner of stuff.
Yeah, there is quite a large variety there. But the plan is to extend it by having some frozen fruit and vegetables pick-and-mix style.
Oh, right, yeah.
To be truthful, we have a few customers that come in and don't want to buy a whole cauliflower because it's just too big for them, for themselves.
Absolutely.
So having it as a pick-and-mix style will be quite handy for them.
And in an area where the average or the age 65 is about 95% of the population on the peninsula generally, to be able to tailor food supplies like that is great, because
that's right.
as you say, if you buy a whole cauliflower, they're not cheap, especially this time of year, and you may not use it. Nobody wants to eat cauliflower 4 days on the trot.
No, that's right. No, you're totally right.
So to be able to buy, a piece of cauliflower, enough for maybe 2 of you or just 1 of you.
That's right.
That's a great service, and I hope that does very well, and I'm sure it will.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because there is a big market for that sort of stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's serving the community in my book.
Yeah.
And you're to be congratulated for doing that.
Oh, thank you very much.
And let's hope it goes on from strength to strength.
Yeah.
You'll be selling half a carrot before that sort of stuff. But I mean, when I was a youngster, you could go to the shops and do that.
Yeah.
You could buy a carrot, 1 carrot. You could, carrots were so much a pound, and you bought 1 carrot, and whatever it weighed is what it cost.
Yeah.
But nowadays you buy I know even we do. We go to one of the main stores and buy a bag of carrots, and they sit in the fridge, and then you throw half of them away.
That's right.
Which, it's a waste of money, and that's
Yeah.
the thing that most people can't afford to do nowadays.
No, that's right.
Is waste their money. Well, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Kelly. I mean, I know that you've been extremely nervous.
Yeah, it's not something I usually do.
No, and I hope we've been kind to you and soft on you.
Yeah, no, and I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, Local Life, because you've helped with quite a lot of me, especially doing my sign. Really appreciate that.
Well, I
and
think
all the advertising you've done for
we'd
me.
all like to thank Local Life because of what they do for most of us, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, well, I think we'll probably be coming back to see you again, and next time you won't be so nervous.
No, that's right.
And,
We'll
we'll get you to come back in and give us an update and see if you've got your alpacas or not.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Shh, don't mention the alpacas. Thanks very much, Kate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
That's some romantic Latin vibes there, and a rather lovely piece of music it is as well. My next guest is a young man. Well, they're all young when you compare them to my age, but this young fella, my lad, is a retained firefighter in Witterings, Bracklesham, and he lost his sister to cystic fibrosis some years ago, and now he works tirelessly, or this year he's certainly working tirelessly, to try and raise funds to aid the Cystic Fibrosis Society. Allow me to introduce Alex Mould. Alex is a local retained firefighter, but he's taken up, or he started already actually, doing 12 challenges in 12 months. Now I have a list of these challenges in front of me, and the one that's already been done was done in January, and that was 24-hour rowing challenge, and the fire boys from East Wittering Fire Station took part in that. And I believe that young Alex ended up going on the machine 9 times in that 24-hour period. Now, anybody that even keeps fit wants to try that, be my guest. Morning, Alex.
Good morning.
Now, I believe that you're trying to raise money for cystic fibrosis because you unfortunately sadly lost your sister to it.
That's correct, yes.
And how long ago was that now?
That was 12 years ago.
12 years
12
ago.
years ago in January.
And these 12 challenges, I'm reading and looking down the list, and it's a good job you're a firefighter at the moment because you need to be pretty fit to start with this. The next one, I believe, is on the 20th of February, which is a triathlon. And now that's 21-mile bike ride a horse for 3 miles, and then kayak for 8 miles. Now, if anybody thinks that's easy, have a go at it. Because you're going to be pretty fit. Now, people can sponsor you for this.
Yes.
And to do that, they just need to go on to ukvirginmoneygiving.com/Alex's-adventures.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And they can, is there any other way that they can get money to you?
There's also charity pots located at the Glen Farm shop, Calamities Cafe in East Wittering Village, and we're also dispensing pots further around the county as well, but that's the easiest way. And there's also a Facebook page called Alex's Adventures, and that will give people the link to the Virgin Giving account if they struggle to locate it.
Brilliant. Now, I can't get over this list I've got in front of me. 11th to the 12th of June, a walk. Downs Link, 37 miles in a day. Just out for a stroll, eh? Have you got a dog? You would take the dog with you. His legs would be short by the time you finish with it. 2nd of July, which is my birthday, by the way. Not that anybody's really interested in that at this stage. And that's a cycle around the Ring of Kerry. So you're going over to Ireland.
Yep, I'm going over to Ireland. I've got an uncle over there, and I've got some cousins who have been supporting me with the challenges. And the Ring of Kerry is 115 miles bike ride near where my uncle lives. He's actually on the route, and that's quite a tough day.
Now, I see that says a one-day event. You sure that's not a misprint?
No, it's all in a day. It's a long day, but it's a tough day, but it's very good. It's a really good atmosphere over there, and there's a lot of support as well in Ireland for cystic fibrosis, so it seems like a good place to take one of my challenges up.
August, London to the Puck Fair in Ireland, 506 miles. What are you doing to get there?
That'd be cycling again, so we're going to be doing over 100 miles a day, and then onto the ferries at Wales. And then there's a machine you can put your bike on, so we'll be cycling across the water, so we'll constantly be cycling on that one. Unload at the other side, and then it'll be cycling down into Clogin town where my uncle lives, and then there's a 4-day fair there. That's
amazing, 506 miles. It makes the next one seem quite simple, really. That's just a cycle ride from Wittering to Woking Fire Station, a mere 100 miles. How long have you been trying to raise money, or how long have you been raising money for cystic fibrosis, Alex?
2 years ago, I did 10 challenges in 10 months. It took, obviously, I was only 15 at the time my sister died. She was 19 when she died. And it took me a long time to accept what had happened and for my family to adjust. And 2 years ago when I did the 10 for 10, I realised that the family hadn't actually spoken about my sister. There's a lot of cousins and aunties and uncles that weren't quite sure what happened at the time. So I did the 10 for 10 and tried to locate them all over the country 2 years ago to allow cousins and relatives to speak openly, comfortably about what had happened, maybe questions that we wouldn't normally talk about as a family. So that was the main reason behind the 10 for 10. And then at the fire station, it dawned on me that people I work with that are close to me still didn't actually quite know what CF was. They knew that I was doing something for it, but what it actually was as a disease. So I felt that there's a need for me to try and spread news of what CF actually was and how it affected people.
Yeah, because a lot of people will have heard of cystic fibrosis,
yeah,
but don't know what it is. And I have to say, I'm one of those. I've got a vague idea of what it is.
Yes,
but a lot of people won't know what cystic fibrosis is.
Absolutely. I've got a little bit of information with me, which I can. So cystic fibrosis is an inherited disease. It's caused by a faulty gene. The gene that it affects moves the salt and water around your cells in your body. So the lungs and digestive system, the main things that are affected, and it clogs mucus into the lungs, so it finds it hard for the CF person to breathe, but also it doesn't allow the body to recover. So if a CF person gets a chest infection, it could easily turn to pneumonia or something worse in a quick amount of time. And CF people, if they get ill, can spend up to 6, maybe more months in hospital, because my sister personally used to catch a disease and then her body would mutate it, so then they had to try and find a cure specifically for a normal chest infection that she had caught. So it wasn't just a case of for a CF person of going for your normal medication. It's a daily fight to keep away from colds, flus, chest infections. And also what's hard for CF patients is they're not allowed to meet each other, because if they would meet, they can swap diseases that their own bodies have mutated, and then they'd end up turning into superbugs that their own bodies have invented. So it's actually a very isolated disease that they can't even talk to each other about and a face-to-face value.
That's incredible. I mean, as I say, I had a vague idea of what it was about, but I didn't realise it was anywhere near as involved as that.
Yeah.
And it must be terrifying if you've got cystic fibrosis to know that this is a situation, and you'd be dreading getting a cold or just things that other people take for granted. I mean, if you don't get a cold during the winter, well, you probably don't because you're as fit as a butcher's dog. But most of us get a cold or chill during the winter. That must be terrifying for somebody with cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also it takes a lot of effect. So if a CF person might go for a small dog walk of maybe a mile or two, if they can manage that far, that'll actually take them 3-4 days to recover before they can actually do something like that
It'd
again.
take me 3 or 4 days to recover.
It's a big knock-on effect to their immune systems, because they just can't repair their bodies quick enough. So just a normal healthy day is enough of a fight, let alone if anything else is thrown into the mix, such as.
Well, we'd like to encourage people to give as much as they can towards this, because this young man is working extremely hard to raise money. And if you think that cycling 506 miles is not hard work, try riding down to the shops and back in the wind. You find out that it's a little bit more difficult than you think. And I can only encourage you to put your hands in your pockets. There are collection boxes locally.
Yes,
there will be more coming out. But the easiest way is to go on to ukvirginmoneygiving.com/Alex's-adventures, or you can look on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com, obviously, Alex Adventure, and you'll get the information on there as to where to part with your money. And I would encourage you strongly to give as much as you can, because this young man is working very, very hard to raise money. And if you can afford a few bob, part with it in his direction. And thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Spending bits of time with us and explaining to us, or explaining to me in my ignorance, what cystic fibrosis is all about.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. What an incredible young fella. Now, from one emergency service to another, I'd like to introduce Liz Watson and Danny Kelly. And Danny is the chairman, and Liz is a fundraiser for Selsey Community First Responders. Liz has been with them a little while, and Danny's the new chairman, and stepped in really to save us a lot of problems, because Selsey First Responders, if you've ever used them, you'll know how wonderful they are, and if you've not used them, you can be assured that they're there. So if anything happens to you, they can get there before an ambulance, and they do, and they are lifesavers in every respect. And they were looking for a new chairman, and Danny stepped into the breach. So, Danny and Liz, welcome once again.
Hello.
Hi.
Now, I know Selsey First Responders have been struggling a little bit recently. They're struggling for responders. How are you doing with that, Liz? Are you making
Quite well.
inroads?
We've got some people coming forward training at the present time, and we're hoping that they will be passed as full responders. It's a different system now. It's a much shorter training period, so they go out with somebody else who's already a responder until they're conversant with all the different procedures.
So are they still trained by the NHS? Or
Yes, still trained by the NHS. Yeah.
And then they buddy up with the first responder. And
That's how it's going to work. We're waiting to hear from the main people that we're ready to accept them into the fold.
And then is it down to the first responder that they're buddied up with to say, well, yes, I think so, or no, I don't think so?
No, they go out for so long with them, and then they go back to another procedure, have another trial, as I understand. But they're just gradually expanding their knowledge.
Now, I believe you would also welcome with open arms a local sponsor. So if there's anybody out there that's got a few bob that they want to use for sponsorship, and I would imagine, I don't know for certain, and I'm sure I will be corrected if it's wrong, but I'm sure sponsorship like that can be tax deductible. So, but if you'd like to sponsor them, you can contact Danny or Liz, and they welcome you with open arms. There is no priority list for first responders, so you won't get any extra benefits by being the first on the list if something goes wrong. But we can promise you that you'll be sponsoring something to be proud of, because they really are a benefit to the community, as I know personally only too well. Now, we understand that every minute counts when something goes wrong, and as I say, I know from first-hand experience, when something goes wrong, those extra few minutes that can be saved by the first responders turning out, as opposed to an ambulance getting here from Chichester, can make the difference between life and death. And believe me, folks, it is that serious. I'm not over egging it. I'm not exaggerating. It is that serious, and it really is that necessary that we keep Selsey First Responders going.
Most definitely.
So I'm sure Danny and Liz, if they could get a word in edgeways, would agree, but it's something I'm very passionate about. Now, I believe coming up on Sunday the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and my wife will be pleased to know that I haven't forgotten it's Valentine's Day, even after all these years. She won't get anything, but I haven't forgotten. And Selsey First Responders are holding a cream tea down at the Selsey Centre, and you can come down there and have a cream tea and donate as much money as you want to spend, and more. And I can only speak from experience of last year's event, which was absolutely fantastic. It was rammed. There were people queuing to get in. It was almost like a production line where people were coming in and people were going, and it was absolutely crammed. Well, this year they've got the whole venue, not just part of it, so you can get a lot more people in there. So you needn't think, well, I went last year and it was a bit busy, a bit crammed. This year there'll be more space, so hopefully we'll have a lot more people in there spending their money. Have you got a raffle on that day, Liz?
We've got a very big raffle. People have been really generous once
I'm
again.
pleased to hear that.
Yeah, and we've got stalls as well as this year. We've had a few nice stalls, and we're still doing the children's fancy dress this year again. It's really such a nice afternoon. It isn't only fundraising. It enables people to meet the responders because there'll be people there demonstrating how they use the medical equipment, and it is so good because you can see it firsthand, and the children get very involved with the responding procedures. They come forward first, which makes the adults come and try it. Everything is homemade. And I must admit, there will be a lot of people there, but we're learning.
And of course, you've got first-class entertainment, I believe.
I know. I was just about to say that. Keith is singing for us again. It's just amazing how everybody helps us.
It was very good last year, and if it's anywhere near as good this year, you'll do very well. Now, Danny, what made you want to step in and...
Well, my work in the community, as you know, my wife and I started the local Meals on Wheels service, and we're dealing with a lot of the elderly people in the community. From that, there's been a spin-off of 3 or 4 different things that we're trying to get going. One was the community Christmas lunch, as you well know, was a major success.
Yes, and it's 2 years that's been a major success.
Absolutely.
A wonderful thing.
And again, the volunteers that come forward to help us with it, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I've been a member of the community forum for a couple of years now, and at one of the meetings a couple of months ago, Neil from High House, who sponsors a lot of what Selsey First Responders do, just mentioned that First Responders was going to finish in Selsey because the chairman had resigned, and as a legal charity they cannot function without a chairman. This was on the Thursday night. On the Friday night, I went and saw Neil, and I said to him that put my name forward for it. So I've stepped in. I don't know anything about it, but my whole aim, and I have spoken to all the people involved, and I told them that it wouldn't be my intention to stay, but I will not desert it. And I can categorically assure Liz and anybody else involved that if nobody stands forward as a chairman and wants to take it on, then they're stuck with me, because I
think we call that locally a rod for one's own back.
Well,
but it's great that you've done it.
I see the need for it in the community.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
My daily work, as long as what the other stuff my wife and I are trying to do get going locally. So there is a need for it, and what you said exactly right. That timing is vital, and it's going to be more vital within the next maybe 12, 18 months, because it's not common knowledge, but the ambulance station is moving to Tangmere.
Yes, I know, because I worked down at Tangmere and I saw the plans for it.
So this First Responders in Selsey is going to be even more vital.
The only good side of that is there's no railway line between Tangmere and here.
But unless we can get wings on the cars,
yeah,
or the ambulances, then we're still stuck, But the age of the average age of people in Selsey, as we all know, people that First Responders are going to be dealing with. And,
yes,
and
absolutely.
if we haven't got them here, it'd just be absolute. It'd be a crime to lose them.
Well, as I say, I know I've got first-hand experience when I had ticker problems, and they turned out to be on several occasions. And thankfully, I was well enough to be here still. But when you're there thinking you may not be, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door and you know help's arrived, no amount of money can buy that.
It's lovely knowing that you've got that insurance. Once you've made that phone call, there is going to be somebody knocking
Absolutely.
on your door.
Because we all travel the road between here and Chichester,
yes,
and we know what
the road is like. So it is vital that we keep the service here in Selsey.
Well, I would like to say, Danny, certainly on behalf of myself, but I'm sure on behalf of the Selsey community, I'd like to say a great big thank you for stepping in and taking on something that you readily admit you didn't know anything about, but you did it purely to keep it afloat, and I think that's admirable.
And I'll give it my 100%. I couldn't do, and I explained to all the members before when I stepped in that my time was obviously devoted to the work I do, but with the Christmas lunch, I was tied up with all that sort of stuff.
That's an awful lot in itself.
I didn't have a lot to do with the first responders. So basically, I've had a back seat, and it's just my name. But if my name has helped them to keep going, then that's fine by me.
Exactly.
And from now, for the next few months, then I can devote plenty of time to it. And I don't do anything by half.
No, I know.
If I'm going to do anything, I'll try and do it to the best of my ability, and I will do the best I can for it.
Well, once again, on behalf of the community, I say thank you, and thanks for coming in. And
thanks for having us.
And thank you to Liz as well.
Can I just say to all the people in Selsey, for all the things they've done for us the last year and all the backup we've had, it's been absolutely amazing.
Wonderful.
I can't tell you. And they've now got their uniforms. We've getting things much better so that when they go into a house, it is so much easier for them and for everybody else to recognise who they are, because they are absolutely amazing, the responders.
And it's a confidence thing, of course.
Yeah.
If you see somebody come in a uniform, you feel far more comfortable that they're taking your life in their hands than if somebody was coming in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
The skills are exactly the same, but how we read those skills are totally different.
We need, our car is getting older. It's past its MOT, but it's got some bodywork issues. So we must keep in mind, we mustn't have a car that's not going to work for us, because there's nothing worse than getting a call out and it won't start or something like that. So we've still got to work towards raising the money for these things. It's an ongoing thing, isn't it? If we only save one life, that's all we've got to think of
It'll be worth every penny that's ever been spent if you only save one life. Certainly, people would appreciate that.
We've got wonderful helpers with the responders. We've got a big backup I've got now of people helping me all the time. We've had 20 people come forward for our cream tea day as helpers.
They're all coming down to listen to that Bobby Barnes. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
I'll just say, the first thing I'd done was I had a meeting last month, an open meeting, in the Venture Club rooms, the little tea room there. And I put it on my Facebook site as well, and other people mentioned it for anybody to turn up who'd be interested in doing what we're doing. Helping the first responders, and I think we've drawn 2 possible first responders from there, and probably 5-6 committee members.
Well, that's great stuff.
We're having another meeting on the 10th, and I have been informed that the top man from Chichester, that he's going to turn up.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And the coordinator from the South Coast now actually works down on Bun Leisure. He turned up, and he'll be there at the next one as well. And basically the meetings were open meetings to see if we could draw people in. They're 12 months, the first responders 12 months is up then in March, April time, and we have to hold an AGM.
Yep.
So my idea was to have a couple of meetings first and see who we got, who wants to come forward and take on the treasurer's job or the chairman's job or the secretary's job or whatever. We had a good response last time, and I've no doubt we'll have a good response this time. But the main thing that actually disturbed me is most people still don't realise that Selsey first responders are all volunteers. It's not been funded by the NHS.
No, Liz and I spoke about this
I know
in a
in
previous
depth last
interview
year,
because
yes.
I was absolutely gobsmacked
Yeah.
to find that they weren't
Yeah.
funded at all by
And
the
we
NHS.
need the people of Selsey to get to know and understand that they're only volunteers. You know, they're trained by the NHS, but that's it. And some of the equipment they're using, they're having to spend their own money on the equipment because the NHS ain't coming forward with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing that annoys me about it, again, I didn't know nothing about it, and some of the stuff I'm finding out I'm not liking, because when the first responder turns up at somebody's doorstep, on the NHS, that's classed as that call is answered.
Oh yeah, because it is.
Even though they might have to wait another 20 minutes for
we
an
we
ambulance,
spoke about that as well
that
before.
call is
this,
answered,
didn't
and
we?
I think that's absolutely...
It's massaging figures,
yeah.
because from the minute the call's taken
Yeah.
till the minute the first responder turns up on the door, that's the time that medical attention has been provided in. And if it takes 4 minutes for the first responder to get from his house to that patient, they've responded in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And so they've not only met their target of 15 to 20 minutes from Chichester, they're well within it. And that's what it shows up as. So if anybody was to say, well, we're not meeting the figures down here, well, of course, they'd be able to say, well, we are. But
I think because the first responders are so important in what they're doing, all that, I think we need a little bit more recognition from the NHS.
Oh, absolutely.
And from other bodies. And
I wish you were trying to get that one, Danny.
well, I've got broad shoulders, and I don't mind talking.
And I know you don't
about anybody. Really,
I know you don't give in easy, but
it's definitely not.
There's thousands and thousands of people working for the NHS, and they all feel the same. If we just had a little bit more.
Can I just say once again, I'd just like to recognise how fantastic Neil at High House Insurance has been to us. Whenever we've had a problem, he's given us information and been there all the time. He just doesn't just talk about things, he does things. And when he says he'll ring you back, he always rings you back.
Yes,
He's
he's
a star.
pretty good.
He's a star.
Yeah, he is.
Absolute star.
Yeah, don't praise him too much, Danny. I won't be able to talk to him. He's a great asset to the community as well. Maybe in a few years to come, we'll be putting out a broadcast trying to get money to support Neil Kimber. But until such times he can support us. Well, that's brilliant. As I say, thanks once again for coming in. And I wish you well for Sunday the 14th.
Thank you.
And I'm sure.
And thank you for coming.
That's a pleasure. And I'm sure it'll be a very good afternoon out. Thanks very much. And my final guest this week is Pastor Andy Stevens from the Windrush Church down in Bracklesham. Andy.
Hello. My wife, Margaret, suggested that God would inspire me to talk about children today. This at the time did not seem to be the way God wanted the talk to go. How wrong we can be sometimes. It says in the Bible that it is good to listen to wise counsel. So I took these things to God. What does God say about children? Let us start by asking another question. What does God say about us? He says we are his children. Think about it. I am a child of God. Say it. I am a child of God. That is what he wants us to be. Some say children are a curse. Some say they should be seen and not heard. Some say they restrict the freedom they used to have. Some treat them as though their child caused all their woes. What does God say about children? Let's put it another way. Who invented children? God created Adam and Eve and told them to be fruitful and multiply. He told them to have children. If God says do something, then you obey. He said a man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. This is a great mystery, and it is great that God allows us to be part of his mystery. Abraham and Sarah in the Bible were told by God they would have a child in their old age. Sarah and Abraham laughed at this, as she was about 90 years old and Abraham was 100 years old. She did conceive and had a son, so they named him Isaac, which means laughter. God says in his word that children are a blessing. In Psalm 127, the fruit of the womb is a reward. He talks about children many times. We have all been children. Some of us have had very good childhoods. Others have had very dysfunctional ones. Some lost their childhood from abuse or having to care for an adult, etc. Many things can cause us trauma through these formative years. So it is important to cherish children. We can all choose to love or to hate children, whether ours or other people's. If we love them, we will treat them with respect and give them good things to think on, teach them the ways of God, and they will not depart from them. Matthew 18:4 says, "Whoever shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Whoever you are, whether you had a loving childhood or a terrible one, you are a child of God. He decided that you should be born, as it says in Psalm 139. "You knitted me together in my mother's womb, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." God loves you so much. Enjoy his love. Enjoy being his child.
Well, thank you for that, Andy. And of course, Andy can be found at the Windrush Church, which is held at the Bracklesham Barn on Sunday mornings. And that's about it for this week. Just leaves me to say thank you to our team, which is producer John Fletcher, researcher Jill Barnes, our new team member John Mallet. This is Keith Barnes saying thank you for joining us. See you again soon. Bye now.